Welcome all. This is Srimai Majumdar from Swami Vivekananda Institute of Modern Science. We have been dealing with business communication and its various aspects. Through this particular presentation, we will discuss the art of presentation, namely the PowerPoint presentation. We'll start with the first part of presentation skill. The first point that is important here is the nature of presentation. What is actually the nature? By nature, what is the specific activity in presentation? Presentation generally is an oral presentation. Of course, we use technical aspects. There are technical aspects in that, but it is basically an oral presentation which is focused on a purposeful, interactive, formal discussion on a particular topic. And since it is very formal, since it is subject oriented, since it is objective wise, it is discussed, it is important to know the art of proper presentation. We have already said that presentation is goal oriented. It deals with a particular subject matter, and therefore we have to plan how to go about this activity. Oral presentation is generally totally at least 90% based on speeches and explanations. We may have visuals along with it, but those visuals need to be explained properly if we have to make our presentation successful. So, what are the steps in planning a presentation? First, we must identify the purpose of presentation. What exactly do we want to focus on? We want to convey to our audience. So, kind of information, whether we want to persuade them into believing or convincing, or we want to demonstrate certain ideas to them, these are areas which should be considered when we consider our purpose. In the next, if the process has to be successful, we must also identify our audience. Analysis of the audience is one of the key areas of our PPT. Audience, we may take the letters of the word audience. A, who are the members? U, what should be their knowledge, the understanding level? D will stand for demographic. I may stand for the interest of the audience. I and E may stand for interest and environment. Needs is the next part where audience's needs should be analyzed before we broach the subject. Similarly, C will stand for customized lecture, whether according to the audience I should be able to deliver my talk. And lastly, expectation, whether I am fulfilling my expectation of the audience. So audience analysis means whether they will listen to me, whether they will be focused on the matter. These are areas which should be analyzed. Next is, what is the occasion of the speech? What kind of event are we using for the PowerPoint presentation? Is it a sales, a marketing, or are we asking for sponsors? Where is there a time limit? Where is the speech taking place? All these must come in under the heading occasion. And lastly, we should choose a proper title, a proper heading for our PPT. Otherwise, it will lose the concentration, the focus on the matter. When we prepare for a PowerPoint presentation, as we have said earlier, we must focus on the central idea. If we lose focus on the main point, our PPT will lose its punch. It will lose the interest of the audience. So developing the central idea is important. We must make logical sequence of the points which we want to discuss. We must gather supporting material, how to develop, how to explain. The sequence of material is very important. It should go in a proper series so that the understanding and the absorb and way the audience absorbs the message should be absolutely smooth. And thirdly, we must collect and organize the visuals, the related visuals. It can be in the form of slides, charts, graphs, or any other figure which will explain the matter correctly. Those visuals should be organized along with the talk, and that is one tool which makes a PPT extremely effective. Now, how do we organize an actual presentation? First of all, we must begin with a proper introduction. If the introduction catches the attention of the audience, half of the job is done. To attract the audience, we must answer a few questions ourselves. The moment we introduce the subject, we must give the audience a reason to listen. We must establish credibility. That means we must make the topic trustworthy. And we must give a preview of the main idea for which the audience will be eager to be there till the concluding point. Introduction of the content is extremely important. When we introduce the content and we give an overview of the content, the outline of the job is declared and the audience gets hooked to it. And when everything is done, we will have to conclude after giving a brief summary of the material which have been displayed and which have been explained in a sequence, and whether the objective of the talk has been fulfilled. Unless and until these are included in the conclusion will not be effective. We end the introductory talk on PowerPoint presentation. Thank you so much for being with us, and we shall hope to see you in the coming second part of this particular session.